Welcome to Battleground, where we're laser focused on the voters and issues in the 7 states that will decide the 2024 election. Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. First up, Battleground, Michigan. Why both campaigns are spending much of their focus in Michigan this week, a state many now believe is must win. Plus, Georgians head to the polls. With early voting underway, a closer look at why the next 2 weeks could determine who wins the Peach State. Then, ballot order bingo, how North Carolina's random ballot order could impact how people vote. I'm Essie Cuppen with 21 days to go until the election. This is Battleground.
It's going to really be something. We just had some numbers coming out of Virginia, which is great. We have numbers coming out of, we win this Commonwealth. We win the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We are in clover, and then we're going to fix our country, and we're going to fix it fast.
Donald Trump at a rally outside of Philadelphia yesterday, stumping for votes in a predominantly Democratic stronghold. For Kamala Harris, much of the focus this week will be on the upper Midwest, as the vice president makes multiple stops in Wisconsin and Michigan. New concerns for Democrats in Michigan who fear the tightening polls there are an indication of waning enthusiasm for the Harris-Walz ticket. For more on the race in Michigan, I'm pleased to be joined again by David Dulio, professor of political science and director of the Center for Civic Engagement at Oakland University. Dave, good to see you again.
Good to see you, Essie. Thanks for having me back.
Okay, let's start with some new reporting out of Michigan citing Democratic fears about declining enthusiasm for Harris and Walz. What are you seeing on that front with just 3 weeks to go in this election?
Well, we're certainly seeing the polls tighten and move in Trump's direction here. And I think she's going to be here a lot. And they're going to deploy resources on the monetary side with ads. We're just getting saturated like all the other states. But with the campaign's time and the candidates' time, she's going to spend a lot of time here in some pretty important places.
And Dave, we know the issue of electric vehicles versus gas-powered cars continues to play out in Michigan. Donald Trump used a speech at the Detroit Economic Club last week to attack Kamala Harris on that. Is that issue playing to Trump's favor right now?
It is in some circles. And you know, we really see Trump trying to recreate the success that he had in 2016 in places like Macomb County with the union worker vote, the auto workers. And he's really driving home that message of, you know, EVs are going to kill the auto industry as we know it. It's an interesting strategy. It seems to be paying off, right? The Teamsters targeting that union vote. The Teamsters didn't make an endorsement in this presidential race. That could be a factor. Right. You know, what's really interesting, though, is that this EV issue is actually more prevalent in the U.S. Senate race between Mike Rogers and Alyssa Slotkin.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, in that same Trump appearance, Dave, he had a kind of a dig about the city of Detroit. What exactly did he say, and what's the strategy behind that?
Well, paraphrasing here, he said something to the effect of, if Kamala Harris wins, the entire country is going to be like Detroit. And when I heard that, I thought, foot in mouth moment. With respect to whether there's a strategy or not, I can't think of one that would make Donald Trump do that proactively. I think he just slipped up.
Well, and just this week, the Michigan-based Arab American Political Action Committee declined to endorse either candidate in this race. We've been talking about Michigan and Arab Americans and Muslims for a long time. Why is this so significant?
Well, it's a constituency, I think, that the Democrats and the Harris campaign in particular are counting on to provide a good number of votes, right? But this clearly goes back to the uncommitted movement that was so prevalent here in the Democratic presidential primary when that option on the ballot got more than 100,000 votes. I also think, you know, we've seen the abandoned Biden campaign transition to abandon Harris from that same corner. I think this is just more of that. There have been overtures, I think, from the Harris campaign to try to bring in some of those Arab American votes or more of them. But this is a significant lack of endorsement.
Yeah, and she'll be in Grand Rapids and Lansing on Friday, then Detroit on Saturday. What does she need to do in terms of turnout in all 3 cities on Election Day?
You know, she's going to 3 of Michigan's largest cities. and they're places where there are a lot of potential Democratic votes. I think that these visits are designed to try to ramp back up that enthusiasm with different voters, really. You know, you've got Detroit, Grand Rapids, large African-American populations. Lansing is certainly an urban area, but it's also got a bunch of college students at Michigan State University.
Right.
So there's an effort underway to try to, rally those troops, if you will.
Dave Dulio from Oakland University in Michigan. You know so much about this state. We're so glad to have you on. Thanks.
Thank you.
Up next, early voting in Georgia begins today, with Donald Trump making the state his top priority this week. But first, voters in Michigan on the issues most important to them.
Being an educator, biggest concern is to make sure that education goes the right way for all individuals.
Absolutely.
And the teachers.
The genocide that's going on, I think for us to be able to come together as people, as Americans, we have to consider how we verbiage and the language we use and actually calling it what it is.
I would have to say the economy, the economy, the economy.
Battleground will be right back.